Hello and welcome to Rowrah in Cumbria for round 4 of the Ultimate Karting Championship in 2022. Rowrah is a circuit that is loved by drivers nationwide. Set in a stunning location, it offers overtaking opportunities aplenty. It's a fast and flowing circuit where the action is always guaranteed. Well, before we get underway with our first race of the weekend here at Raura, let's take a look back at some of the headlines and talking points from round 3 at Glanigles Park in North Wales. And we're going to start here outside the zip car awning because in the Honda Cadet class, it was young Bella Fairclough who really showed her true potential with a performance that placed her running consistently in the top 3. Although, unfortunately for her, a mistake in the final turn saw her drop from 2nd to 3rd, losing a place to young Oliver Majewski.
Shenton is keeping Fairclough guessing. Left, right, no way through. He is keeping that cart as wide as a Buick. Oh, Fairclough gets the back bumper. He manages to save it. There's not a lot of grip at that point because there's a couple of spots of water on the camera. Final corner. Is this going to be enough? Fairclough runs wide. Shenton from Majewski and Fairclough.
Great driving from him, taking advantage to steal the place on the line. Now, despite that disappointment, I think what we've learnt there from young Bella is that she's shown the established potential that she's got that have her troubling many other drivers within that field. It was Bella's teammate Rocco Shenton that took the win for Zip Kart, so well done to him. And the accolade, though, for the most places made up in the super final went to Oliver Spencer, who ultimately finished in 7th, starting much further back in the field. Now, don't forget, the championship points allow drivers to drop their worst scores during the season come the end of the year. So despite missing the opening round of the UKC in 2022, Rocco Shenton is still very much firmly in contention. And interestingly this weekend, as far as Zip Kart are concerned, is Luke Hines now finds himself back under the awning. First time he's done that in 10 years, working alongside Earl, looking after all the youngsters in there, bringing that Hines dynasty back where it all started. In the Sony Kart Micromax Academy, it was Dan Minto who followed up his round 2 win with a win in round 3, so well done to him. But it wasn't plain sailing. In heats 1 and 2, he got himself a 7th and then a 9th place, and he followed that in the super heat, that's the one prior to the super final, with the 10th place. So he was obviously working hard in the early part of the weekend there. But the super final was a very different story because Daniel got himself in the lead early and he established an advantage throughout, really dominant driving. So well done to you, sir. Now, James Roberts came home in 2nd with Olivia Reynolds, who was a novice driver, don't forget, at the start of the year, crossing the line in 3rd. She's with Argenti Motorsport. She's only been with him 5 months, making the move from 2 wheels to 4 from motocross to karting. She's proven to be really rather good at it. But a front fairing penalty and a 5-second disadvantage to her saw her ultimately end up down in 9th. Which is probably quite disappointing for her, but obviously great pace from Olivia also. We'll have a catch-up with her a little bit later on to see what she's thinking ahead of this weekend. Olivia's penalty, though, saw Oliver Warner inherit the final podium spot, having made up the most places in the super final, starting from P12 for Ambition Motorsport. So well done to Oliver. Now, James Roberts has the championship lead coming into this weekend at Raura, and this is a circuit where he's had a lot of previous experience. So I would say James is certainly the man with the target on his back. Well, taking a look at the Micromax class, and it was Argenti Motorsport's Josh Graham who took the win, with Finn Leslie finishing in 2nd for Sam Pollitt Racing, and it was championship leader Noah Wolf who finished in 3rd, this time for Synergy Racing. Well, taking a look at the man who did the best in terms of overtaking, that honour went to Josh Salvadura. He may have started back in P32, but getting through the field was no trouble for him. He did some 18 places from P32 to finish up in 14th and earn himself the hard charger status in that Micromax class as we arrive here for round 3. Well, in the junior Rotax class, it was Sam Pollitt Racing's Ted Bradbury who took the win. but he got himself involved in a tight battle with Hunter Motorsport's Stephen Duncan. That was a great one to watch. Reese Lomax was back in third. Now that result consolidated Bradbury's lead in the championship, gave Fairbrother still holds second, despite a crash in the super final though, which cost him valuable championship points. Charlie Hart was the other driver involved in that incident in the super final, and that saw him finish back in ninth, but still good enough to hold on to third place in the championship overall. The driver who made up the most places in the super final was Alex Duncan for Argenti, some 15 overtakes in total, starting back in 29th and finishing up in 14th. With over 90 registered drivers this season, there's a lot of action still to come from these youngsters. It's going to be a great one to watch. In Senior Road Tax, which is one of the most competitive classes in the series, we've seen different drivers win each of the 3 rounds, and last time out at GYG it was the turn of ST Racing's Kern Tsang who took the win, dominating the field in the super final. Caden McQueen finished back in second, but even he couldn't overcome the lead that Kern had set himself in the early part of that race. He finished second then. Louis Harvey finished in third, with Jamie Rogers in fourth place. Probably a disappointing result for him, but it was enough points to earn him the championship lead. And don't forget, he had a DNF earlier, didn't he, back at Warden Law. So with the best scores dropped to count, Jamie Rogers still finds himself out in front. Well, the man that made up the most places in the GYG Super Final in Senior Road Tax, from 26th all the way to 9th, joins me now, car number 67, Les Taylor. Les, tell us about that Super Final. There was a whole lot of great driving going on there.
Yeah, so started 26, got our head down, made up a couple of positions in the first corner, and there was a few incidents which we got through, and just after that, just got our head down and picked them off one by one.
And you're just, weaving through and you're thinking, hang on, I've obviously got the pace here, I'm doing something right. When that happens, it must be really sort of gutting that you're starting back in 26th.
Yeah, it was due to the heat, so I had a DNF in the heat, so I started quite far back. So if we started further up, we could have been top 5 maybe, but...
easily, if you can go from 26th to 9th, if you start at 9th.
You can go up to top 3, easily.
Top 3, top first place. So great driving obviously that weekend. Here we are then at Rowrah this weekend. Couple of sessions in, how are you getting on?
We had a rough start, we haven't really been on the pace, but that last session we changed some stuff in the car and we're not 2 tenths off the pace, so we're not that bad now.
And just talk about Raura as a circuit, chatting to a lot of the drivers, it's fast, it's flowing, you guys really like this place.
It's really physical, so we haven't been here that much, so we're still learning, but it should be okay.
Are you identifying where are the spots to overtake out there? You're obviously definitely a man who likes overtaking.
Yeah, I would say end of the straight's my favourite, or last corner.
Yeah. Brilliant. And just looking ahead beyond this for the rest of the season, we've got Raura, then Clay Pigeon, and then we go back north again. What are your hopes come the end of this UKC season?
We've had, not a good start, so hopefully top 10, get a seeded number, so we'll see how it goes.
All right, well, Les, best of luck for the rest of the weekend.
Thank you.
Well, in a moment, we'll be getting things underway. First out on track will be the Honda Cadets. But before they go racing, let's take a look at the circuit that they all love here at Raura, with Ewan Charman of Argenti Motorsport giving us the commentary, taking a look at a lap of his teammate, Alex Duncan.
He's just finishing off his final lap, going across the start-finish line to see a new one. Let's see what he can do. Coming across the start-finish line then, a very uphill, very steep right into a left, and then across the curve through the right, into hairpin 1, hard on the brake, carrying a very high speed going through here, using all the exit. And then on the short chute down into hairpin 2, the same here, very hard on the brake, back down the back straight, a very, very long straight, full speed, carrying speeds to up to 65 mile an hour, hard on the brake again, down into this very tight section over all of the curbs, using as much curb as you can to take time out of your lap time. And then sector 3, very fast, very technical, dab on the brake, flick the steering, back on the power, into a very important final corner, carrying loads of speed, back on the power to finish your lap here at Raura.
Let's kick off with Honda Cadet. It's Kenzo Craigie in pole position. He's alongside Rocco Shenton. Oliver Majewski is beside Ethan Griffiths on the second row. Charlie Wolfett alongside Charlie King. On row 4, it's Bella Fairclough in the Zip Card alongside teammate Rio Licata. Then Finley Smith in number 33 and Jack Price rounding out the top 10. The phenomenally talented privateer Tom Potter is in 11th position on the starting grid. He's on the inside of row 6, besides Sam Mott, then Oliver Spencer, Ryan White, Ashley Harzay and Thomas Hill rounding out the field. So we're waiting for the lights to go out. When they do, we will be racing. Let's go! Kenzo Craigie getting a good start with the 360-degree camera on board. And we go up to the chicane for the first time of asking. Everybody knitting their way through nice and neatly. Couple of drivers running a little bit wide, but managing to stay on the road. Good start from Kenzo Craigie. Rocco Shenton just hanging behind. And there's contact in the hairpin. Oh, goodness me. We've started off in a little bit of a fiery mode as they come up to Iredale's into the right-hander. And onto the back straight they come. So a couple of drivers off the road. But it does look as though, despite that, everybody has been able to get going again.
That is a remarkable top three, and we're not even halfway, we're just about halfway round the opening lap, and look at that, 2 leaders.
Oh, spinners galore, Alan, sorry. We've got 3 of them all finding very little grip as they went into St John's. So obviously everybody finding a very tricky part of the circuit and no grip on these slick tyres.
Indeed, 3 of them off. There has been a little bit of dampness, shall we say, in the air, so maybe that's caught a few of them out, but look at this. 2 leaders with Majewski now right behind them. Look at the lead they've got over 4th and 5th. That's Ethan Griffiths and Charlie King. They've got some work to do to make up that gap as Bella Fairclough goes down the inside at McRae's.
Well, the problems on the first lap, Jack Price and Charlie Wolfitt got caught out on the first lap. And we also saw Thomas Potter and Rio Licata along with Ashley Haase spinning up at St John's. Very unfortunate because they were all making good progress up to that point. This is the battle for 4th place. This is Griffiths versus King as they try and run as close behind the top 3 as possible. And then you've got Smith, Fairclough and White having a terrific battle behind them for P6. So the top 3 drivers stretching out the pace already. Kenzo Craigie and Rocco Shenton trying to get away from Oliver Majewski. So they're going to battle away, and as they come out of the final hairpin onto the next lap, this is going to be the beginning of lap 3. And they've got just over 10 minutes left of the race, so there's plenty to do. A lot of great action to come. This is for further back. This is Ashley Haase battling away with Thomas Potter. And Thomas Potter is trying to get his way through on the inside. Kenzo Craigie, the man who leads, runs wide. Rocco Shenton trying to get back in towards him. Is he going to get his opportunity onto the inside at Iredale's? Kenzo Craigie trying to shake off Shenton, but he is matching his every move.
The only driver that this battle is helping is the man in 3rd place, Oliver Majewski. He wants them to battle so he can get closer to them. So Kenzo Craigie set the fastest lap at the end of the last tour. Then we've got Griffiths and King. Then Bella Fairclough now up to 6th place. She made a place on the last lap. Finley Smith lost one, although he'd made 4 places from his starting position earlier.
And fair play to Sam Mott. He's managed to get himself back into the top 10 now. 9th position for him. He's made up 2 places and he's disappeared from these guys. Look at it. Spencer, Hill, Price, Wolfitt. Here comes Price on the inside. No, that's Wolfitt. Sorry, Wolfitt getting through. So he manages to get on the inside of Thomas Hill. Thomas Hill coming straight back at him, but the leaders are battling away as well. It's really difficult to know who to focus on. There goes King on the inside for 4th place, and that looks like Smith getting past Fairclough. So great battles all the way through this Honda Cadet field as Fairclough tries to get back up alongside, decides against it, waits for another opportunity to get past. So Griffiths, King, Fairclough, Smith and White, all 5 drivers from 4th down to 8th as they pass the lake and up to St John's once again. This is 2 brilliant battles which could become 1.
Yeah, it's Lakeside, that straight going down to the Stewardesses. That's Bella Fairclough picked out. She's had a good run last time, not quite as close to the leaders as she would like. And this is that battle for 6th place. The 33 kart there picked out Finley Smith. That is Finley Smith, in fact, definitely picked out now for Zipkart. I'm not sure how many runners from Zipkart we've got in this class, but makes up, I think, around half the field.
Would not surprise me at all. Kenzo Craigie banging in a 54.9, so that's the first lap of the race, I think, that's sub 55. Coming towards us, this is Charlie King along with Ethan Griffiths. So King having made his way through the number 74 kart into 4th place as they go through Iredale's and hoping for a good run down the back straight, but they've got so much time to make up. They're already about 4 seconds away from the back of Majewski at the very best. So this is going to be an interesting one. Craigie and Shenton still together, but Majewski in 3rd place is trying to stay with them within about a second or so from the range of Rocco Shenton. Up to Paddock Bend, and this is all about Rocco Shenton reading the situation from Kenzo Craigie in front, because he can sit behind him, look at where Kenzo's putting the kart, and figure out over the next few laps where he's vulnerable, where he can pounce and make a move for an overtake. He doesn't have to overtake him at this point. It's still very early into the race.
Yeah, Shenton doesn't need to overtake and won't necessarily overtake at the moment. It's just put in the fastest lap. he's, like you say, Jake, just having a look at what the man out front, Kenzo Craigie, is doing.
Well, this is fascinating. We've got great battles in the midfield still. Well, Kev Harris is our eye in the sky from where he's currently standing. I wonder what he's been able to make of the situation. Kev.
Well, watching from up here on the cliff top here at Raura, I've just had Rocco Shenton and Kenzo Craigie go by me, and every time it happens, I'm really getting the impression that Rocco is going to make a move on Kenzie at some point soon. Of the two out in front, Rocco certainly looks to have the advantage. He seems to be the faster cut. He's just waiting on the rear bumper of Kenzo Craigie, and I would imagine in the closing stages of this one, we're going to see a change in the lead. But at the moment, for me, it looks like Rocco is the faster of the two.
Well, cheers, Kev. That's pretty much what we picked up on as well. So well read. Now we've got Hill and Potter all over the back of Spencer. In fact, that's Potter now in between them. So Potter's going to try and make the bit on the inside. Oh, beautiful from Potter. Just a little bit of a bang of wheels there on the main straight, but he was not going to be intimidated by that little bit of a defensive line. So Potter able to get the position away from Oliver Spencer, now runs out wide, but manages to cut across, and he's actually leaving Spencer and Hill to battle amongst themselves. So the teapot manages to work his way through. Excellent work from Thomas Potter, and he has been making a lot of headway in his local and regional categories, but here at Ultimate Karting Championship, this is his first major appearance, and he's already putting on a really strong showing. Good to see the privateer sitting up and taking names against some of the best drivers in the country. Now, this is King versus Griffiths. Still dueling away for 4th place. Out of the final turn, you've got Fairclough, who has not only got into 6th place, but has actually disappeared from Smith, White and Mott. So she has now started to close up on King and Griffiths. Still got a bit of a way to do to get there. Here are the leaders. This is Craigie versus Shenton. Nothing to choose between the two of them. Craigie on a 54.5. I would not be at all surprised if Shenton is only about 100th or so off that lap each time.
Bella Fairclough, she's now out on her own, Jake. She's got a lot of gap between herself and Ethan Griffiths and Charlie King in front of her. She's trying to convert her pace from the previous round into some pace today. She's not quite where she was last time, but she certainly showed a quality that day, and that is the battle for Smith, White and Mott, and that is White up the inside for another spot. So Ryan White on the 10 kart makes up 1.
Yeah, that's P7 for him now, so Finley Smith is going to have to try and fight back. Looks to me as though Thomas Potter has actually managed to stretch away from the drivers he was battling against as well. So not only has Potter got through, but he's dropping them. So excellent work from Thomas Potter. Now we've got Finley Smith trying to make the move back on Ryan White. Where's Mott going to get his line? Because if these two keep squabbling, he's in the box seat, 9th place.
Yeah, just going under the drone, you've got battles all over the track, including the last 3 going through the line. Thomas Hill, Rio Licata and Ashley Haase. They're battling for that final spot.
And that's what I love about the categories in the Ultimate Karting Championship. You don't just get 1 or 2 drivers battling for position all the way down to the last man in the field. You are always going to have somebody to race against. You're always going to be pushing it. This is going to be a bit of support. Look at that. Beautifully done as through goes Finley Smith, supported there by Sam Mott, who couldn't quite finish off the move to get through on the inside himself. But that's not going to bother Finley Smith at all. He manages to get past Ryan White once more. Now Sam Mott is going to come off Paddock Bend to try and go through to the chicane and get past, but he just doesn't quite have the top end speed to match Ryan White in a straight line up the crest.
Fantastic battle here for 7th place we're looking at. They go through McRae's.
Mistake! Finley Smith, he just dropped a little bit wide and that was enough. I think he just caught the edge of the racing line there. All he needs is just a couple of centimetres off that racing line, and there's barely any grip in the damp patches, so he just washed out.
Yeah, McRae's one of those primary overtaking opportunities. Past Lakeside, going down to the stewardesses. We're back here with that was a battle for
there we
4th
go.
and 5th. This is a battle for the lead.
Well, Shenton had got through at one point, and now Craigie back on the inside. Shenton gets him straight back again on the switch. 3 lead changes in the space of 1 corner. That is absolutely terrific. So now we've got the battle for 7th. Finn Smith is now behind Ryan White and Sam Mott. So he's got to try and get himself back into position again, but he's down to 9th. And look who's joined the party. It's Charlie Wolfit. He now fancies his chances.
There's as many battles going on the track as we're having with our voices recently, Jake. Kev's, I think, have you moved, Kev, or are you still there on the cliff top?
Watching from the far corner of the circuit here at Raura, Rocco Shenton and Kenzo Craigie traded places there a couple of times on what I think was lap 9, and really exciting stuff to watch trackside. There's a lot to run in this one, but with only 2 minutes on the clock from where I'm stood right now, who knows what will happen. All eyes out on front, surely.
Thanks very much, Kev. I wish you wouldn't call me Shirley on air. Not everybody needs to know my pet name anyway. Battling away for position. Look at this for 7th. Excellent stuff. White, Mott, Smith, Wolfit, and they are absolutely on it as they come out of Sunny Bend and now up towards Paddock in the inside line. Nice move from Wolfit. He dives in and gets the overtaking move on Sam Mott. Closing up at the back of that queue now is Finley Smith. But look at this, we've now got Craigie back in front of Rocco Shenton, so he's clearly made his way back into the lead somewhere. Shenton is trying to time this right, but we've had at least 4 lead changes so far. I've got a sneaky feeling we could have 3 or 4 more.
So many battles throughout the field, cameraman trying to keep on top of who's doing what. So the lead change has happened out of shot of the cameras, but these two are going at it hammer and tongs all the way. 1:08 left on the clock so far, not long to go.
Here we
There's
go.
going to be what, couple of laps, Jake?
I reckon so. Shenton is going to be all over the back of Kenzo Craigie, but he just needs to get tighter to him. Here we go, battle for 7th place again, and now at the front of that queue is Charlie Wolfit. He's worked his way through position after position after position, and now he is there at the front of this train, but he's still got pressure from White, Mott and Smith, so it's not done yet. He's still got plenty of opportunities to lose it, but also plenty of opportunities to stretch away. Here we go, through Iredales, on the back straight, up alongside the lake, and this is where we're going to have another great run to the stewardesses. Trying to dive his way through on the inside, Rocco Shenton. Look at this, 4 drivers battling away for 7th still. Wolfit just about hanging on from Ryan White, but now Smith and Mott having a great duel for 9th place. This could separate a little bit. This is all about where Ryan White decides to feed the move into Charlie Wolfit, into the stewardesses. As I think about it, it's not quite there on the apex. Still nothing to choose between King and Griffiths there for 4th. There's Fairclough on her own. And then we've got Charlie Wolfit trying to hold station ahead of Ryan White. Look at these two. Now it is Finley Smith ahead of Sam Mott. But for how much longer these two guys keep swapping positions behind the duo for 7th place.
Charlie Wolfit came from quite a way behind to catch these 3. You'd have thought he might have cleared off by now, but once he gets there, they've got his break in to judge theirs on. This is the battle for the lead. Still Craigie from Shenton.
And it's the penultimate lap because they ran out of time just after they crossed the line. So they've got this one and the one after. And that's what's going to decide this race. Out of the stewardesses, hopping over the curbs, on the run down to St John's once again. They pop up into view, and Shenton's going left. That's where Craigie puts him. Trying to hold the inside apex and cover him off through Sunny Bend. But here comes Shenton up alongside him. They're going to go wheel to wheel. They rub wheels on the rear. And Craigie holds the position for one more lap. Now they're going to have to sort this out. Last lap begins here at Raura. Into the first corner. Up through the top of the curb. Little bit of a run wide from Craigie, but he holds the line present. He's spending almost as long looking back as he is looking forward. He's got to be very careful where he places the kart. He'll know that Shenton is going to be all over him. Up to the braking zone for Iredales. And this is where Rocco Shenton's going to try and cut the inside. Lovely defensive tactics from Kenzo Craigie. Slow in, fast out, held the inside apex, up to the stewardesses once again. He's got to control him in the middle. This is perfect from Kenzo Craigie so far. Shenton is the quicker car, but Kenzo Craigie is driving smart rather than driving hard. Here he goes, up towards St John's, in through Sunny Bend. Can he hold him? Oh, Shenton gives him a love tap. But up towards Paddock Bend. Surely Craigie's got this now. Shenton's going to try and drive around the outside to cut back in, but it's going to be Kenzo Craigie. Masterful defense from Kenzo. Perfect. And now we've got Wolfit trying to defend these 3 of the line. Oh, lovely from Finley Smith. He cuts in and splits them. But can he hold it to the inside? He's going to drive around the outside and lose his ground. Oh, unfortunate. Wolfit comes through in front of White, Mott and Smith. What a great battle to start the weekend. Kenzo Craigie taking the win from Rocco Shenton by just 1/10 of a second from Majewski, King and Griffiths. Bella Fairclough P6 in front of the battling quartet. Charlie Wolfit in front of the man who made up the most places, Ryan White, from P14 to P8 ahead of Sam Mott, Finley Smith and just in front of Jack Price and Thomas Potter.
Well, how about that in the Honda Cadets there? From watching high up on the cliff top here, I saw that whole one unfold there. Kenzo Craigie and Rocco Shenton trading blows. They were out in front. Oliver Majewski was just behind them, and it was all about those front three, really, wasn't it? But the two lads out in front, trading blows, changing places, but in the end, full credit to Kenzo Craigie, just holding off Rocco Shenton on the line. Well done to both of them. Let's see what they had to say at the podium.
Third place in Honda Cadets. Are you happy with that today?
Yeah, done well for today. First time at the track, so had to get used to it.
Yeah, it's a great track though, isn't it? Lots of overtaking, and I guess as racing drivers, that's what you all want. Who do you want to thank for your weekend?
I'd like to thank my dad, Connor Mills, Passion Motorsport, and my whole family for supporting me.
Okay, well done. For somebody like you, who's got a lot of experience in karting, even though you're still quite young, how old are you now?
11.
So 11, but you've never been to Rowrah before, really?
No, I've never been to Three Sisters either.
Oh right, so that's coming up at the end of the year, so looking forward to that one. Who do you want to thank for your weekend?
My mum, my dad, Zip Kart, Dave Bell Chambers, Luke Hines, and Kenzo for pushing away.
Okay.
Thank you.
Kenzo, you've had the championship lead at various points this season already, but you haven't had a super final win. That's your first one. You must be absolutely over the moon.
Yeah, it was a really good final. It's my first time here at the track, and we did a clean sweep all weekend, won every heat and every pre-final and every race. So it was a really good weekend.
And who's that all down to?
That's down to Ambition Motorsport, my parents, RPM Engines and Zip Kart.
Okay, well done.
Thank you.
A great win for Kenzo Craigie. Once drop scores are taken into account, he leads the standings by just 15 points ahead of Rocco Shenton. Majewski has a decent advantage to Ethan Griffiths, with Bella Fairclough and Max Endicott not far away. Rio Licata has 7th place for the moment, ahead of Wolfit, Spencer and Jack Price, rounding out the top 10.
Well, earlier on, I mentioned Olivia Reynolds in the Saudi Kart Academy class, because don't forget, last time out at round 3 at GYG, she crossed the line in second, but then received a 5-second penalty that took her back to 9th. That was for a front fairing infringement penalty. But if you're not involved in the sport, you might be wondering exactly what that is. So earlier on, I caught up with Danny Sweeney from Argenti Motorsport to help explain. So here we are then, and Danny, you have the front fairing bracket in your hand there, which some of our viewers might not fully understand what role it plays. But so tell us about that.
So yeah, this probably isn't the most, not the most popular thing in karting at the moment, but since they've been brought in, they've definitely made a difference, cleaned up the driving standards massively, and yeah, so I think have created a fairer thing for all the competitors. So for those who aren't sure, there's 2 of these blocks on each nose cone. The bars for the nose cone have to sit here in line with these 2, and then if any of the blocks are dislodged from the bar after the race, then that comes with an automatic 5-second penalty due to the fact that they think contact has been made out on circuit.
And the idea being really obviously that it's trying to stop drivers from bumping into the back of the car in front of them effectively.
Yeah, it's sort of the main aim was to take excessive contact out. And like I say, it's definitely cleaned up driving standards, start of the races especially. You don't sort of get that load in and big crashes like we did before these were introduced.
When you found out that news, tell us how you felt afterwards.
I felt really disappointed and upset because I knew it weren't my fault, but it just happened to me.
Part of racing, that's sometimes in the rules, but do you understand with the front fairing, why that rule is there? Tell us about your understanding of, what that's all about.
I understand, so it can be like a fair race and not like really aggressive. So you can't just go around bumping people off the track. And I think it's a good thing, but also not like a helpful thing. So it can be annoying, but it's just part of racing.
Prior to that, you crossed the line in 2nd place, so you must have come away from that weekend and coming into this weekend feeling quite confident because you're fast.
The Wilton Wednesdays has been helping me a lot. Every Wednesday at Wilton with Argenti, just me. It's got my pace up, definitely.
So the team owner, the team principal is Ron Meadows, and obviously this weekend he's in Baku because the Formula One is at Azerbaijan. So will you be watching the racing this weekend, the Formula One?
If if I get time, I'll try to. But yeah, most likely. I like catching up with Formula One because it's like interesting to see how we're doing.
I think it's really amazing, Olivia, that one weekend we're watching on the television with Lewis Hamilton and the rest of the Formula One circus, then the next weekend he's here looking after you guys. I think he really does love karting.
Yeah, I got told a story by Ron's wife that when he was around my age, that he would just go to Silverstone to look at the F1 cars and F4, F3. So that's kind of cool, I guess. Also, Ron's just like, it's so amazing that he works for a Mercedes because it can open up opportunities for Argenti drivers. And he gave me a Lewis Hamilton signed hat, which was pretty cool.
That's really cool, isn't it? And I suppose if you look at Ron and the journey he's had, like you say, when he was a kid, he was at Silverstone just watching racing cars and Formula One cars. When you look at him, do you think, wait a minute, if he got all the way to the top of the sport, I could do that?
Yeah, I mean, I have loads of opportunities in life at the moment, but I think 4 wheels is, there's a lot more money in the game than 2 wheels because it's like way more popular, I think. But I think I could make it in 4 wheels.
Because you race on 2 wheels as well, don't you?
Yeah. So with 2 wheels, it helped me with like my overtakes and like, because when first round at UKC at Wilton, I had to drop back a position, but then if you like cut in and get the apex good, then you can actually pull the move back. So I think motocross helps me a lot with positions and like thinking about the track.
Well, the crowds are starting to gather, so let's see how Olivia gets on as we go to the super final then for the Sodikart Academy races featuring that Rotax Micromax engine. Best of luck to Olivia and all of them taking part. Here's Jake Sanson with the grid positions.
Gotta love a bit of Micromax, and here at Raura, it should be fever pitch. Katie Donaldson in pole position. She's alongside Jaden Sherwood on the front row from JJ Lowe and James Roberts. Jack Baker and Kevin Kilbasa from Christian Stefanov and Daniel Minto. Rounding out the top 10, it's Tyler O'Neill and the lady we just heard from, Olivia Reynolds, who's going to be fighting her way back up the order once again after a difficult day at the office so far. Adam Turacek and Oliver Warner, Sam Laduyi and Jake Rafferty with Sebastian Lusch rounding out the field. Now, obviously, rolling start for Micromax, so it'll be when the lights go out, we're racing. Off we go! And a fantastic start. Jaden Sherwood trying to get as far up the field as he can, but it's tricky going into the first couple of corners from the outside of the front row, and he's already down to 3rd position. Perfect start for Katie Donaldson, but she's drifted wide. She's going to cut across. Perfect recovery there from Katie Donaldson as we continue to battle away in position, but she is now in front. In the Ambition Motorsport car, she drifted a little wide out of Iredale's. Can she hold on to it down the straight? Yes, she can. She's been able to hold on to it for the time being. They come into the stewardesses. You can see how tricky and treacherous it is. And there's the proof. It's still a little bit greasy down there. Now, that's one of the Argentis going around at the back of the field there. Couldn't quite make out who it was.
I think there's only 14 carts. Seem to be only 14 carts on the track, Jake, but 2 of them caught out there at the back of the field.
We'll have to pick them up as we go through, but it's certainly still Donaldson in the lead at the moment. 2nd place, pushing on, that is JJ Lowe, having made the good start for the Coles Racing team. Sherwood is 3rd, then Roberts. Oh, wait a minute, Dan Minto does not appear to be coming up on the live timing. Not entirely sure what's happened with his transponder, but it doesn't appear to be pinging at the moment.
Yeah, definitely on track, definitely in the race, but that's James Roberts there on the 2 cart. He's effectively the championship leader coming into the round, and the way things have gone today so far, should be the championship leader going out of the round.
Oh, they're coming from a long way back to get past Sherwood. Brilliant move from James Roberts. That took so much bravery and confidence, knowing that the car was going to turn in from so far back. That was amazing from James Roberts. Just decided, enough of this, I'm not waiting around, I'm getting stuck in. And that was a lovely overtake into 3rd place, and it looks like Tyler O'Neill now fancies his chances of getting past Sherwood as well.
Look at this, Katie Donaldson here with a nice lead, Jake, for Ambition Motorsport. Paul Jane's outfit has come into UKC this year, I should say, and we will be catching up actually with Paul next time to ask about all the drivers in his team and why he's come back to UKC. But Kevin Kilbasa sets the fastest lap, and Katie Donaldson, though, with a comfortable lead. That's another place made up.
Yeah, that's O'Neill diving in on Sherwood. He almost tangled in with James Roberts at the way they run through McRae's. And now they're coming up to the stewardesses. This time, O'Neill is going to dive in, and behind them both. That was Stepanov, I think, just charging on the inside line.
6 of them trying to go through the stewardesses at the same time,
look,
almost side by side.
Look, the rain is coming down. You can see it on James Roberts' camera, and they're all on slicks. So this has now become a race of bravery and courage. Up the inside comes Olivia Reynolds. Beautiful move as she gets past Christian Stepanov. There's a warning flag gone out. That's for the 28 kart. That is for Dan Minto. So even though Minto's not coming up on the timing screen, he's certainly making friends out there, and the officials have clearly seen it. A couple of drivers trying to make some moves in the drizzling part of the race, so this could be a couple of moves. Olivia Reynolds trying to get herself up into the top 5 at a critical phase, and she's done it. Plenty more moves to come.
The rain seemed to have stopped. We're on board here with James Roberts, but the man with the news on the weather is Kev Harris. Kev.
The rain is falling once again here at Rowrah, and on these slick tyres, these kids are really going to have to learn their trade to try and nurse their karts through to the finish. A long way to run, and the rain has started to fall.
This is where you earn your crust of bread in British karting, and you're always going to have a bit of an issue. Look, several differentiations, different opinions of where to put the kart. Sometimes it's changing by the corner, never mind by the lap. So here they come, Donaldson, Lowe, O'Neill, Roberts, Reynolds. They're going to start sliding sideways as they go through, and that's Reynolds. Reynolds has lost it. Oh, what a shame for Olivia Reynolds. She was making massive progress. All it takes is just a tiny wheel on the inside curb, and it just washes the kart out. Meanwhile, we're back on board with Roberts, trying to get his way back past Tyler O'Neill up to Iredale's. O'Neill drifts wide. Roberts is going to get alongside, and now it's a drag race to the braking zone. Nothing to choose between these two. You can put half a piece of paper, as now Roberts hopes he can turn the kart in. O'Neill drifts too far wide.
Couple of wheels on the bark chippings. On Jaden Sherwood's off for Ambition Motorsport, and Kilbass has spun as well.
No.
It's all kicking off now, and the rain obviously is getting heavier. Here's a replay. Olivia Reynolds, all her own work, unfortunately.
She was very lucky that she didn't get tagged there by Jaden Sherwood. Sherwood had to take avoiding action. Back up on the inside. Here comes the move from Dan Minto, and O'Neill spins. Oh, O'Neill just loses the back end of the kart. No contact at all between the drivers there. Dan Minto just had the inside line, and it's getting heavier. You can see it on the camera up at the chicane as the back end steps out there for Jack Baker. He tiptoes his way through. Look at JJ Lowe, P2, just by keeping it on the black stuff. He's not pushing the kart any more than he has to, and he could get a win here. This is for the lead. Donaldson, Lowe and Roberts are using a much wider trajectory in these wet conditions, as you use a lot more of the racetrack in the rain. So now Roberts is going to try and get his move on JJ Lowe. You don't need to rush this, James. On the inside, Donaldson loses it! Oh no! Katie Donaldson from the lead is in the bark chippings.
What an absolute sickener for Katie Donaldson. She will be beside herself. The 360 camera will capture
Katie,
my goodness.
Well,
the 360 camera in this situation captures all the emotion from the driver. She is gutted.
Look, it's a minefield, and it's easily a mistake that's made. But look, the marshal helping her get into position again.
Yeah, and she was running around, and the marshal was making sure that she knew, I've not run down all the way down here to push your car out for you to have a stop. Get back in and drive it off. That's what the marshal was saying. Championship leader is now the new race leader. But we know what they say. You can see now, watch the line. He's taking a wider line.
Whoa!
That's Grafferty.
Yeah.
Grafferty spins out this time. So how many karts have spun out so far? It's got to be at least half the field, you would think.
Well, I think only one driver hasn't actually run off the road yet, and that is James Roberts. Everybody else has had a moment or two over a curb. Goodness me, well, that was well held by Katie Donaldson that time. But Roberts pulling clear, 3 seconds clear.
Championship leader is loving it right now. He knows he's just got to keep it on. And with Donaldson going off, I mean, all right, we had lots of other drivers, probably 4 or 5 go off before her. But of course, when she's the one that's leading, if you're the one leading a race, you get to the corner first. As it gets heavier and heavier rain, you get to the corner first, and what might have been the right line and the right sort of pace, the lap before, as the rain's coming down, a lap later, all of a sudden, conditions change, and the race leader got caught out, and that is a sickener for Donaldson. We always say the same thing as... is that Grafferty running wide
It
again?
is, yeah, it is. And Kevin Kilbasser's managed to overtake him earlier in the lap, but Jake Grafferty is there. So that's Kilbasser actually in 8th place now in front of Grafferty.
Yeah, we were saying about Donaldson, we always say the same thing, and it sounds a bit trite, really. This won't mean anything to Katie Donaldson, possibly, but you've got to take the positives out of the weekend. And Katie Donaldson, a bit like Olivia Reynolds last time, has shown her true pace today. Unfortunately, she's come a little bit unstuck, but shown her quality.
Well, Jack Baker, unfortunately, has come off the road somewhere. Well, we got a bit confused as to the positions. I was right, Kilbasser is in 9th place because, of course, Dan Minto is missing from the timing screens. He's running in 2nd place through all of this, so he's actually now in front of JJ Lowe. Then it's Tyler O'Neill in 4th from Stefanov. Reynolds, who is now in P7. You've got O'Neill, Warner, Stefanov, Reynolds, then Ladiyi. Kilbasser is 9th. Grafferty is 10th. You've got to take into account that Dan Minto's name is missing from that timing screen, but he is in P2 ahead of JJ Lowe.
Yeah, and that's what's causing the confusion for the graphics man, I think, as well, trying to work out where people are. And I can't work out why Minto's name does not appear on the timing at all, yet he appeared in the grid position.
There must be something to do with the transponder cutting out, but at least the rain has now stopped. But
you
there's
can tell
still
that. Well, you can tell that, Jake. Look at the pace he's got through the turn now, Roberts.
Yeah, he's got more confidence,
much quicker,
much more confidence now through the apexes. But those couple of laps where it started to cause an issue, look at the people on the sidelines there, the rest of the team willing on Dan Minto to try and catch up to James Roberts. Now the rain's stopped, you can go for it, mate. Go on, go get him. But it's these laps where we've had a bit of drizzle in the changing conditions. It'll be those days where they've been out on the rental karts in slick conditions, getting to learn racetracks in very, very tricky, changeable weather. Those days are proving to be invaluable here at Rowrah. As we watch Adam Turacek try and close his way down towards the top 10. He's obviously got a bit of ground to make up. It's Jaden Sherwood in front, but not that far in front, so anything can still happen.
You can see the pace through the chicane here, Jake, can't you? The way it's increased in the last several minutes in terms of the track drying out. Here is the race leader, James Roberts, championship leader too, and he'll be extending his championship lead. I think he had something like must have been a 20-point lead, if I remember rightly, from the previous round. He's going to be bigger now, maybe 30 points or so.
Now this is a driver I'm particularly impressed with coming through. The 23, battling away Oliver Warner, doing a very good job there in 5th position in front of Christian Stefanov. So they're behind Tyler O'Neill, who has just set the new fastest lap of the race, by the way. So making good progress. It's currently Roberts, Minto, Lowe, O'Neill, and into the barriers. Oh, that's so unfortunate for Kevin Kilbasser. Just drifted slightly wide. Now, he might be able to get the kart moving again, but obviously it's taken a hit on at least 2/3 of the exit of the barriers there, so hopefully he might be able to get going again, but he's actually decided to bail out of it, so it's all done for Kevin Kilbasser, but fair play, he gets away from the scene pretty quick.
I'll tell you what, he's only just pulled that away before James Roberts, the race leader, went past, and the starter only just managed to pick up the last lap.
That's Tyler O'Neill. Tyler O'Neill just gone into 3rd place there, past JJ Lowe going into turn 1. So O'Neill has literally just managed to scythe his way through past JJ Lowe going into the final lap. Talk about timing.
Yeah, massive gap he's closed as well on JJ Lowe. JJ maybe being a little bit conservative after the earlier conditions.
And fair play to Olivia Reynolds. We saw her spin off over the curbs earlier on, but she didn't fret. She got back going again, and she's going to come home in the top 10 ahead of a lot of other drivers who have struggled similarly in the conditions. So amazing work from Olivia Reynolds to get herself back into the points, into the top 10. She really has read the situation well. But James Roberts, despite it being a little bit more hairy than other occasions, he got the job done. He knows he's got the job done. That'll do. James Roberts gets the win in front of Dan Minto, and well done to Tyler O'Neill. 3rd place, he snatches that from JJ Lowe as round the final couple of corners. Warner is just going to hold off Stefanov, and that's a personal victory to him. Great work from Warner to bag a top 5 finish in the Ultimate Karting Championship. Credit to Olivia Reynolds, she got going again, and she brought it home in fight style. So there we go, James Roberts in front of Dan Minto and Tyler O'Neill, who both made up 6 places. but Oliver Warner made up the most, 7 as he finishes 5th behind JJ Lowe. Stepanov ahead of Reynolds, who recovered well. Ludiyi, Sherwood and Jake Rafferty, despite his troubles, brought it back into the top 10.
Really had everything, didn't it, for those Sodi Micromax drivers there? The rain falling, just encouraging them to learn to use their slick tyres on what was a wet track. And then towards the end, it became a drying track. It was all going on. Katie Donaldson was out in front for a lot of it, but then she went by the wayside somewhere in the latter stages of that one. In the finish, young James Roberts, kart number 2, took the win. Well done to him, and full credit as well to Tyler O'Neill with the fastest lap time there of a 52.94. Let's go and catch up with them all at the podium.
Daniel, couple of wins in super finals at the last couple of rounds. Second today, but how did the rain affect you when that came?
Good. I'm good in the wet, so I mean.
But on slicks though?
Yeah.
Do you do a lot of practice slicks in the rain?
Not really.
Okay, but it
Used
paid
to.
off for you, I guess, in the end anyway. Second place, so decent result for you. Who do you want to thank?
Hunter Motorsport, Kai, Eddie, and Matthew.
Okay, well done.
And you.
James, comfortable win for you in the end, but early rain came when you were all on slicks. Do you do a lot of practice on slicks in the rain?
Well, yeah, to be honest, I think all the times my dad said, just put me out on track, and said just get on with it and put me out on the rain with slicks on. It's finally paid off.
And yeah, exactly. It does pay off when you get a day like this, and what a fantastic result for you. Who do you want to thank?
I'd like to thank my dad, always on the car, getting the setup bang on. And Mum, back home, as always giving support. Everyone in the Sodion here this weekend, Mark, Bradley and Emma.
Okay, well done.
Thank you.
Good stuff from James Roberts. He continues to lead the championship. His advantage is now 32 points to Dan Minto. But check out the battle behind. Sherwood in 3rd, Donaldson in 4th, Stepanov, O'Neill and JJ Lowe, all covered by a handful of points, with Oliver Warner, Kevin Kilbasa and Adam Turacek all still in the game with races to go this year.
So that's it for our first instalment of action from Rowrah. And once again, the track that sits in the heart of the Cumbrian countryside really did prove to be the perfect backdrop for some great racing. Join us in programme 2 when we'll be bringing you all of the action from the 3 remaining super finals for Minimax, Junior Rotax and Senior Rotax. But until then, from myself, Kev Harris, and all the UKC team here in Cumbria, see ya.